All right, pro wrestling fanatics, welcome back. Hey, it is the two-man power trip in the HMG, the Hobby Media Group. This is truly where the worlds collide. Mr. John Poz, how you doing, brother?
Doing good. How you doing, RBV?
Hey, we survived. It seems like this is like every other week, another big weekend in WWE. In pro wrestling, that's what we had the 4-hour marathon of AEW, and then Friday, SmackDown. 7 to 8 hours of WWE premium live events. Kick it back to Raw. So we've got a lot to cover, Poz. We're going to jump right into it. But, hey, I just like you over at the two-man power trip and you and the shoot job, your day-to-day, man, you are just printing that green, man. You're swimming it. Scrooge McDuck over there. And right now, the WWE Universe, they're seeing green. They're loving green. Mr. John Poz, what everyone's talking about. Sweeping the nation. It's a iguana insanity. What are your thoughts? Is this first time you've seen Mr. Iguana, or your overall thoughts here and what we can look forward to?
Seen him before, but never in like a full match. Just highlights and social media clips and stuff online and YouTube and stuff, but never seen a full match. La Yesca was an interesting thing with the iguana puppet. I don't know. And it's crazy to think that pure like entertainment guy like that, great athlete too. You could do the work, if you will, but just a pure entertainment guy. I love him. And usually for me, I'm not really big on the entertainment guys that are just purely entertainment guys like that. But I love it. I'm all for it. I think he's great. I think the shtick is great. I think the act is great. He was super over, one of the most over guys on the whole show. So I got to go, Mr. Iguana, thumbs up. I loved him. I feel like the insanity is perhaps justified. He was great.
Hey, I was aware of his existence, had not seen Mr. Iguana before. Watching Worlds Collide there, opening up the show, the opening match, I really wasn't sure what to think, but by the end of the match, I was sold. I am all in on the insanity. It is sweeping the WWE Universe. As you said, though, Paz, we saw the vignettes on Raw. Before we went to record here, you're talking about how he is at NXT. Hopefully we get some involvement there. But they have to be very here and there with how they expose him, where they're using him. Don't overdo it. Keep it so it is that special feel when these worlds collide, when we cross the line, pun intended there. They're definitely can be some special magic there, especially, me, the media marketing mongol that I am, the merchandising. The yes. Puppets are going to move like crazy. I mentioned we have to have that crossover, worlds colliding of here comes the iguana. Let's have Cobra. And let's get Mr. Sacco in there. We get the puppet 3-pack. Let's move them. We've got TNA. Yeah, there you go. We've got AAA. We got WWE, the Hall of Famer, the legendary Sacco Mick Foley in there. What a great run. But, hey, I'm not just going to go 2 thumbs up for Mr. Iguana. I'm also going to go tongues out, baby, for the iguana.
Nice.
Again, man, he is the green machine that's taken the WWE by storm there. Now, Paz, Mr. Iguana, a lot of the big talk coming out of the Worlds Collide event. This is a 2-parter here. We'll kind of spin it off here. Your overall thoughts on the event itself. And more specifically, your boy, your dog, everybody's K-Dog, Mr. Conan. What a great surprise seeing him on commentary for this show.
Was actually surprised. I had no idea that he was going to be on commentary for that show. I did not know that. I didn't know it was going to be Corey Graves either, so that was quite a nice surprise. Corey Graves had probably turned out to be the best guy to do it in WWE as far as just knowledge. Obviously, his brother wrestles Sam Adonis for AAA, so obviously he's very familiar with the product and the wrestlers. Did his homework too, and obviously he kind of relied on K-Dog for a decent amount of stuff done commentary. K-Dog was a little bit slow to start, but then I feel like as the night moved on, he got a little bit better and better and progressed into it more. Definitely going to have to ease into that role a little bit more, throw out some more anecdotes, throw out some more stuff, but I think he'll ease into it more and get more used to it. Kind of the first time him doing commentary in a long time, so definitely something he's got to get used to, especially for the American, if you will, not Spanish commentary, especially for the American side, the English side, if you will. But I feel like the show was great. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I liked the opener. I like the main event. Obviously, Stephanie Victor and Lola Vice. You literally can't go wrong with those two. So I liked it. I liked the whole show. I thought it was good show, good effort, and obviously it was really well received on YouTube as well.
Well, what I really liked about this show, and it is in K-Dog, Mr. Conan, was the perfect compliment for that. I like how they took the time to explain the style and the history, if it be from that great opening that we saw with their representation, the current day, the history being represented, the video packages throughout the show, but especially with Conan on commentary to let us know, hey, you might not be used to this in North American wrestling, that North American to the Western style, European style. This is why this is special. This is why this works. This is why you should like this. And as you said, Graves, who's up here with that excitement, and he does know his history, but he knew when to pull it back and refer to Conan to let him explain it. The only thing I had in my notes was I wish they would have turned Conan's mic up just a little bit because he was so laid back. But we don't always got to be where I'm at up here. It's kind of like you. You're Mr. Chill. You're Mr. Cool. You're laid back in your conversation. And that's what we got from Conan. I thought he did a great job, knocked out of the park, and I loved the insight that he provided. And like you said, though, initially it was a great surprise, and you pop. You perk up. Okay, this isn't going to be just a normal WWE, putting their fingerprints on this thing. This is authentic, and we get that nostalgia from a name that so many of us. Hey, if you don't love K-Dog, hand in your card. Get the hell out of here. Your fan card.
Agreed. I agree.
Now the big question, though, we have seen many incarnations of Lucha Libre coming to the United States, to North America. Maybe with some mild success, I'll say. I don't want to say complete failures across the board, but no one has really hit it out of the park. So, John Poz, I want to ask you, this time around, can Lucha Libre work in the USA?
I feel like it can. You just have to kind of roll it out the right way. It has to be authentic. I feel like a lot of the times maybe they try to Americanize it too much, but don't go that route. Don't do that. Definitely hit up more the Spanish-speaking cities and more of the Spanish-speaking towns. I feel like definitely keep it authentic. Keep it into certain areas, certain towns. I know, obviously, I guess it's like Denver area, obviously Arizona. El Paso, Texas. You keep it to like big Spanish.
LA was so excited for
LA,
it. They burnt the town down this weekend. They were so excited for it.
That's true, yeah. San Diego, LA, like keep it to those towns. I feel like it could, and maybe get on a U.S. Spanish speaking station as well.
Well, it's very interesting. First of all, to see, where maybe look back, what missed, what hit with the other. Of course, Lucha Underground had such a great cult following. So, maybe look at what we can sample from there. I know it was very high on cost, hard to produce that. We had Lucha Warriors USA, things like that. But to me, I immediately thought, man, it's like, if you keep this special and it's about the spectacle, I think this thing can draw, maybe, as you said, you go into these markets and to help sell some more tickets, you run, even if it's just like a live event, that's a special just for them there. But I did like the YouTube, where you could reach a much larger audience, maybe those people that aren't invested. And I'm not trying to sound like a negative here, but yes, probably a lot more of your Hispanic households don't have the streaming services available to them. But they're more likely to have some sort of form of internet, which was a great choice to go with the YouTube to air this program, Worlds Collide. I really like how, you're talking about maybe finding a distribution with the Spanish, that has a Spanish channel. One of the things I also had in my notes too, I wish Peggy Hill wasn't my Spanish teacher so I could understand better what the hell they were talking about a lot of times and I have to read my wrestling. But what about this? We already have a great working relationship with the CW, who has massive distribution because it's open air, and they reach a huge Hispanic household number, which I think could be a good fit. Just maybe an hour each week of some Lucha Libre WWE would be a tremendous fit there.
I'm all in. I like it.
All in, baby. Not quite yet. We're a few weeks away from that there, Poz. Yes. We will be talking about that. Fortunately, no AEW talk on this week's show. We were talking a little Triple A there. But that wasn't the only show, Worlds Collide, from Saturday Stick around for Saturday night. We have got one of the, it seems to be one of the, I would say, arguably it's moved into the big four position. But of course, it is a big deal each and every year, is the Money in the Bank Premium Live event. So, Poz, let's hit on a few of the big talking points, the headlines there. Let's kick it off here. Your thoughts on the match itself, the stories that unfolded, and ultimately the winner of the men's Money in the Bank match.
I thought it was a pretty good match. Maybe, arguably, you could say the match of the night there. A lot of crazy spots. There was a couple spots into the crowd was kind of like getting the biggest ovations. Maybe not of the night. Maybe that was saved for somebody else. But one of the biggest pops of the night was some of those crazy moves when LA Knight went up there and got El Grande with a suplex off the almost like a spinning suplex. Almost, it was like almost like a spinning Saito suplex there off the top of the ladder. Yeah. That got a huge pop. There's a bunch of huge pops. Sometimes though, I'm not a huge fan of the ladder matches just because it's like, man, it's almost like asking for an injury or 2 injuries or 3 injuries. Sometimes like, it really
gets me when it starts turning into like the erector set where they're all taking their time to build platforms and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, at least the crowd was into it, and I thought it was a pretty good match. Maybe a predictable finish with Rollins. I was kind of hoping LA Knight would get the win there, so maybe it was a little bit predictable with Rollins get the win. But I know you were saying it didn't make Rollins to get the win, but I thought it did make sense because of the fact that he had 2 guys cheating for him. I know Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo come out and kind of even the odds, but then Jacob Fatu turned on Solo too, which was really good, which got the crowd really into it. That was a really good turning point, and that was a good storyline development there, and nice way to finish or really start up those two having a feud. But to me, I liked the match overall. Thought it was good, and I don't know. I guess Rollins winning does make sense for the fact that he's the one that wants to, resurrect wrestling, and he, he's the heel, but he's talking about how he's going to like resurrect the business, and Cena's talking about how he's going to kill the business.
Well, that was one of the things is I was looking at the competitors inside of this match, and I know so many people have been talking about, well, he doesn't need this. This person needs that. To me, what the hell does that mean? What should be the most important factor is the case being used as a plot device inside of the biggest story that we can tell. And that's where I was looking at, and I did make some sense of Rollins, as being that snake in the grass, being so looking for there was backhanded opportunities. Now he doesn't have to be so forceful in getting an opportunity at the championship that he's obviously chasing. He can step back and wait for his turn. I was making sense of it there. Yesterday, I have, as I do each and every Monday, had the opportunity to sit down with one of the greatest minds in pro wrestling, Ben Hameen. And after really breaking down this match and talking to him, I'm really questioning, I don't think anybody in this match really was going to do the case justice going forward. We're getting Rollins here. Even with LA Knight, I guess it would be fun to see somebody like him to maybe have that opportunity to tease. Is he going to break through that seemingly that glass ceiling that has been placed on him? Obviously, they know they can put him in the main event. It's going to get a great reaction. Fans love him. They play along with everything he's doing. He gets those big reactions, but it seems for some reason they've got him capped. So I think the Money in the Bank would have been a great teaser with that. I just don't know if they're ready to pull the trigger. I do love what they did with the Samoans there. We got that storyline going forward. But everybody else, maybe Penta would have been fun, especially as you are teasing this new partnership with AAA. I guess this is one of those things where as a fan, I'm just going to have to sit back and kind of enjoy the ride to see where we're going here. And that's on the men's side. I do got to say, when we flip the coin, we go over to the women's division. Absolutely. I love to see Naomi get her flowers and stand tall there at the top of that ladder, grabbing the case. Your thoughts, Poz?
That was the right decision. I actually, whatever reason, I was thinking Stephanie Fakir. I thought she was going to get the immediate jump and immediate push. I, for whatever reason, thought she might win. Probably better off she didn't, because Naomi might be kind of like the hottest heel that they have. Is just as far as she kind of gets the biggest reaction. I mean, they really dislike her, which is great, and she really does a great job. And she got this character over. She got this gimmick over. She got the Jade Cargill thing over. She actually was doing some good acting, which is kind of surprising for some of the WWE wrestlers, if you will, like as far as just some of the bad acting you see, she's been doing a good job with the acting. So she really, I feel like, has turned the corner, turned the page, and I do think she's the right choice, especially considering you've got Tiffy time. It's a babyface as champion, so that's good. You can kind of keep teasing
All right,
Teasing
that's
that.
another conversation. I
Yeah.
am so confused about why I should be rooting for Kitty Time outside of them two big jugs that she's carrying around, because there's nothing likable about her. But this is Naomi's time. This is her moment to
Yep.
shine. I want to put her over. Everything you said, right on, Poz. She is hitting on every cylinder right now. She has been with the company so long. You know, she got over a little bit with the entrance, sold some merchandise, but this is some tremendous work that we're getting from Naomi. She has poured herself into her character, she said, on every level. She is absolutely knocking it out of the park. She is crushing it. And right now, as we were talking about what makes sense, what stories are there to use the case? Who makes sense to utilize that? Who better than Naomi right now? You know, she's underhanded. She's looking to steal those opportunities. That's where we're at. Now, I'd also like to say through this summer and the year, we could really add some dynamic layers to this. Let's say, you know, Bianca goes over and takes the Raw side of things, the championship from Io. We also got Jade Cargill, who has been entered into this Queen of the Ring tournament, where they have announced that winner will get an opportunity at SummerSlam for a championship. What if we have, you know, a scenario where Bianca has one title, Jade has a title, and Naomi's kind of just floating around with that briefcase? You know, we have this dynamic of this trio. We're bringing it all together. That's some storytelling that I would love to see going forward here for the women's division. Poz, we also got some other big stories. Everybody, I mean, there's multiple stories here. We got fans fighting amongst themselves. A big surprise, big return. I'm going to ask you to lay it all out here for us, Poz. I want to hear. The fans want to hear. The 10 count wants to hear it from you, Poz. We want the truth. Make some sense of this for us.
I love how people online were calling other people like Marks. You fell for it, you got worked.
You got work. This is a shoot.
Yeah.
But nobody was like just thankful that he was back.
Yeah, it was weird. They were like all arguing amongst themselves. He did get a huge pop at Money in the Bank, which was nice to see. I love Truth. He got a huge pop on Raw, great promo on Raw, cutting the hair as well. That was awesome. But if you want the truth, you got to be honest here. This is 100% was a shoot. This was not a work. His contract was up. I know you had said July. It was actually up June. So it was. I think it was June 6th is what I read. But or somewhere June 1st, June 6th, somewhere around there, the contract was up. He said released. It was not. They decided not to resign him because he was making. Yes, he was not going to be renewed because it was too much money because they weren't doing house shows. So him making the same amount of money doing less dates did not make sense. So some of the other guys like Braun Strowman, like they're not going to come to agreement because he doesn't want to take less money. They don't want it. They're going to give him less dates, and they're going back and forth. So they'll leave the door open maybe down the future for Braun Strowman, maybe even for Miz coming up too. But what happened with Truth was, man, this guy is so over. Wow, he's got the #1 T-shirt. Wow, this. Well, how about this, Truth? We'll meet you in the middle. You could do less dates, but we'll give you this amount of money. And like they were able to come to an agreement and make it work financially, which was a complete shoot. So they kind of pretended it was a work or turning it to work. And Triple H's comments made it seem like he thought it was either pretending it was a work or he wanted you to think it was a work. Or he just didn't want to answer the question and was kind of being vague about it. But irregardless, however you want to say that, he was definitely shooting, and it was a shoot because his contract really was up. And then they obviously went back to the table and were saying, hey, why don't you take this amount and we'll kind of, we'll negotiate. We'll meet in the middle. You do less dates. We'll give you maybe a little bit more money. And boom, it worked out because obviously he's back and got a huge pop.
Again, you have everybody, oh, you got worked, or it was a shoot. No, it wasn't. They knew what they were doing. They're masterminds when it comes to creative. Nah, again, it's like nobody's just happy, rejoicing that we have one of the beloved individuals that we were so angry, up in arms over. Just happy to have him back. I do question in the creative of this. It seems like it continues to be shotgun booking, which lets me kind of know that they don't know what's happening. That one hand doesn't know what the other is doing here. They didn't know that we're going to get the news of the lack of renewal, that they would be losing Truth, and also that they would come together for a last minute deal. So I think with that backlash, they felt a little pressure. We've got to get him reintroduced in some way instead of maybe letting this play out throughout the summer, letting a story play out here with John Cena where Truth is the one that reemerges to kind of, bring Cena back to the light. Because I think we all are in agreement. There's so many talking heads,
Yeah,
so many
he'll turn
legends.
him babyface. Yeah.
Yeah, that at some point we're not going to see Cena go out the way that he currently is.
Yeah.
Now there are some rumblings, though, and I think this might be a WWE, maybe a little rib, if you will, on the fans. People, that delivery that we got last night on Raw as he's cutting the hair, and, hey, you got more of a serious side that we saw here. Put some respect on the name Ron Killings, where we might not see so much of the comic side here. We're going to get a little serious here. We mean business.
Yep.
Could this be WWE saying, you know what? We hate doing this, but we heard you. We listened to you. We're going to give you what you want, but we're going to turn him heel. What if this is the way, that when he went after Cena, it was to send a message to John, that message received. I can be serious. I can do what you're doing, John. I've always stood with you. Let me stand with you again. And now we get you cut the hair. And what if we do get a promo from Ron Killing saying, you know what? When I was in there with John, things started to make sense. Yeah, you were cheering me, but you were laughing at me as well. This is done. I'm just saying, we never know here. Some other interesting developments from Raw. I don't know. Maybe I was a little surprised with this one. I'm going to hear your take on this one. But Gunther beats Yeet. What does this mean for Gunther? What does this mean for the Yeet movement? Poz, what was your reaction to seeing the two-time but new champion looking good with that glorious gold there? Gunther entering his second reign as the world champion.
To be honest, I was pretty damn surprised. First of all, title change on Raw, first time that happened in about 4 years, maybe even a little bit longer than that. So it's been a long time. And it seemed like the Triple H method, as far as the world title was concerned, it was only like big shows where the title was going to change hands. If you look at it, obviously Roman held the title for 4 years and he lost it at Mania. Then, with Cody holds it for a year, loses at Mania. Then if you look at the World Heavyweight Championship, it was basically going to be Rollins loses at Mania. McIntyre loses it right 2 minutes later at Mania. Damian Priest lost it to Gunther last year at SummerSlam. Then Gunther didn't lose it again until WrestleMania. So it seemed like only the big shows were kind of like how Triple H was doing. So this completely floored me. I was completely shocked. In a good way, though, because I think this is unpredictable. It's good. It almost is like, wow, you thought I was being predictable. You thought that was my pattern.
Does that lend, though, that last week we heard the lowest Netflix numbers ever, and it seems that we're on a decline since they debuted there, that they felt like, hey, we got to do something to make this must-see?
I feel like, yes. And having Cena on the show, too, because you would think that Cena would have been on SmackDown this week, not Raw. So they put him on Raw. So I don't know if that was planned ahead of time or what, but that seemed like a little bit of a curveball, too. It's like, man, they're really loading up the show. Like Cena, Punk, teasing the Cena and Punk match, then Gunther for the title. AJ was wrestling. I mean, it just seemed like a really, like, Raw where they Nikki Bella's surprise appearance. They really were trying to load it up for sure. I don't know if that was the reason for the title change, because I think that it was going to happen eventually with Gunther beating Jey Uso. I don't know why this kind of surprised me. I just felt like it was going to happen like in a rematch of some sort, that he was going to get the title back, because I didn't think for whatever reason they were going to have Uso have a long run. But I don't know what happens to Yeet now, because it was the most over thing on the show. So we'll see what happens with Yeet.
Yeah, on the Yeet side of this, one thing, keep your eyes on social media for what pops Rikishi. How's he going to react to this thing? That's going to be Hey, that's going to be worth the value and entertainment alone. But after Raw goes off the air, Jey Uso gives a very heartfelt speech to the audience. Brings his son into the ring, very tearful, saying, he's sorry maybe if he let some people down, to still believe in him, still believe in the Yeet. Because he's not going to be one and done, not a one-trick pony. He's going to have multiple reigns put over Gunther as well, which I thought was very interesting. I said, hey, he's one of the best out here. He got me. He earned that win. But again, that Jey Uso was not done. Do not count him out. And then he went into the audience, and they had themselves a hell of a Yeet party, a great moment to send that crowd home happy. The question here, another look at the glorious new champion. Some big questions here, with Jay giving him praise, the great work that Gunther had did with McAfee. are people starting to sway towards? We're getting a Gunther movement. And with Rollins on the chase, could he be set to become a babyface for the Raw brand?
Yeah, that is interesting. The fact that Rollins is the heel with the Money in the Bank and the two champions are the two big heels, Cena and Gunther. So I wonder if they're going to go that way. But Gunther, last night after the fact, he said nobody greeted him, nobody thanked him. He's on his own. So interesting to kind of see his path and where he's going. Like almost a Stone Cold Steve Austin, not Stone Cold-esque, but like the fact that I'm a loner, like that kind of thing.
Well, especially looking at the guy with the case who's running around with two big bullies and a master, an evil genius with him. So
and he shook McAfee's hand and he was respectful to Jey Uso. So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I think they could move a lot of product and a lot of numbers behind Gunther as the babyface. It's going to be interesting. Well, we're talking about product. What? Yeah, there's product everywhere. WWE going all in. You can slap a logo on it. They have done it, baby. Snap in to a sponsor. Poz, Money in the Bank. Yeah, it was Money in the Bank, all right, when it came to the advertising. We got it. We got Slim Jim tables. We got Fireball ladders. We got Cash App briefcases, brother. We got the erector play sets at the commentary booth. We have got it everywhere. Poz, hey, I'm a marketing guy. I love it. I pop for it each and every time that I've seen it. Where are you at? Especially as the purist, the pro wrestling purist that you are. Are we going over the top here? No pun intended. With the logoing and the sponsors.
To me, I got to be honest. I don't really like it as much. I know they can make more money, and that's great. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just too much of a purist. I think it's too much. I think it's too over the top. Like the ladder was Fireball, and like the briefcase is Cash App. It's like I don't know. I feel like it's almost too much. It's like Kiss. You know what I mean? Where like everything needs to be Kiss.
That's the spoon. Put a logo on it.
Yeah, you can put a logo on the spoon. You're eating your cereal out of. I don't. It's just to me, it might be too much.
I'm even going to say this, maybe pull back a bit. And it was made, and I love the product placement in the ring there, in the Cash App Money in the Bank. That is great because you can get premium pricing for that. I popped a little bit. Everybody knows what I'm kind of going through. A little trigger, though, for that Fireball ladder. I did pop for that. Of course, the snap into it, Slim Jim, that hits there. But when they're running commercials within commercials, about commercials, that might be a little over it. Hey, but right now, up there in the offices, they don't care about the pro wrestling. They're making money, baby. And they are putting money in the bank. We can argue about the quality of the characters, the storytelling, what we're getting on television. But we can't deny that, man, they're raking in. They're raking in the green. They're doing better, bigger, and better than they've ever done. That's the sell again, whatever the case might be. But they are hitting on all cylinders there. But Poz, it was great this weekend. We got Worlds Collide, Lucha Libre. They are known for the history behind the mask. And there have been some great ones to come out of Mexico there. We've had some on our soil here representing the mask there. This was a tough one. I had to go through some history here to see if I was missed. I didn't want to leave anybody out. But I knew who my favorite was right away. I'm going to ask you, Poz, who is your favorite all-time mask wrestler?
To me, this is pretty easy. I got to be honest. There was a ton of great max wrestlers, and like I loved Jushin Liger. I mean, there's if you count Vader, I loved him when he would wear the mask. There's a ton of guys, but to me, it's very simple. It's very easy. Rey Mysterio Jr. Love him.
That is a good one. I actually won a Halloween contest going as Rey Mysterio.
Nice.
Nice. It was great, man. I actually, it was freezing. It was like ice storm out on Halloween, though, here in the Midwest, late October. I actually went out I didn't do like his pants. I just did a traditional wrestling singlet. I'll admit, I had to stuff that crotch. Like I said, it was freezing. That shrinkage was hitting me. I was not going out in public, rocking and rolling that thing like that.
Yes.
Had the mask on, the gloves. People loved it. Won the contest. I'm feeling pretty good about myself, People are like, right? I get pictures with people. They love the wrestler gimmick. Talking to the ladies. It's a little late tonight. It's a little hot in that mask, so I take the mask off, get some drinks in, and I just heard this table of ladies like, man, he should have left the mask on. Oh, God, crush me. But as you said, man, so many greats. I didn't even really think about Japan with Liger and all that. I was thinking of some of it's like Santo. I can turn to Santo through mystery.
Yeah,
Science
Mel
Theater.
Mascaris, Santo, they all had awesome masks. Yeah, La
Yeah.
Parca.
Yeah,
That mask
the
awesome.
chairman. How can we go wrong there? But I'm going to go with a near dear friend of mine, guy I've got to work with, guy that I got to shoot a bunch of Jaeger with, and we're going to take a splash into the deep blue, the cult classic, Shark Boy.
Oh,
Shark Boy is my boy. He is my
Wow.
favorite mass wrestler. So he gets
Wow.
my nod. What do you not like about the Shark?
No, I just can't believe you picked him over, like Ray or Liger or something. I'm like, wow, all right.
It's my dude, man. Hey, when you kick back and you knock back some Jägermeister, man, you got to give him the nod as your favorite.
Oh, Shell, yeah.
Oh, Shell, yeah. None of those other guys have ever bought me a drink. All right, so I'm going to go with Shark. But hey, I love the gimmick. I love the entertainment. Such a great. If we were talking about that mix of comedy that reaches the audience, can relate with the kids, with mom, with dad, with grandma and grandpa. Shark Boy over strong, baby. Shark Boy over strong. Well, Poz, we're at that time, man. It is time for our pop of the week, as you'd mentioned. The Truth, becoming Ron Killens, cutting those gorgeous, gorgeous locks. But who would have known? And it might be, man. The good times, the comedy might be over for R-Truth, because when he cut that hair, he went from R-Truth to James Evans.
Yes.
Florida, I already told you. I just told you, Florida. I'm going to have to give you the smackdown now, Florida. Oh, yeah, that's going to do it for this episode of the 10 Count. We'll see you guys here next week. Hey, please hit that link, click that link, share it here. Help us spread the good word about what's going on with the two-man power trip to HFG right here on the 10